Hey guys, Pankaj here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk about very special topic, that is Python memory management. For those who are very new to this video, I would suggest to go back to my playlist and understand all the basic concepts of Python. Okay, then only you will be able to grab the concept of memory management. And those who have already watched and learned enough Python concepts, so they might be wondering like how memory is managed in Python. So this video is especially for them. Okay, so let me show what and all I'm going to cover today. Okay, so here is the agenda. So we'll see what is memory management and what are vocabulary used in memory management, like what is stack area, what is heap area, and what are a couple of inbuilt functions or keyword in Python, which will be helping you to understand the memory management. Okay, we'll see what is reference counting, what is reference cycles, and what is the difference between get ref count and C types ref count, how the garbage collection works, and what are their various attributes and how to use them. Okay, so let's see its definition. So in Python, memory allocation can be defined as allocating a block of space in computer memory program. Okay, so whenever you define any variable, right, definitely it is going to need some memory, right, to store the object, correct? So that's where you need stack area and heap area. Okay, so first of all, in Python, memory management happens automatically. So user or those developer who are going to develop the program, they don't have to worry much about how memory management is happening. So they don't have to really worry. Why? Because it is getting managed smartly by a Python interpreter. Okay. So let's see what are the vocabulary. So first is stack area. What is stack area basically? So all methods and their variables are stored in the stack area. We'll see with the help of example. Just remember this basic definition. Okay. And what is heap area? All objects and instance variables are stored in the heap memory. Okay. So I'll just show some examples here. So let's say you are defining one small variable 2, right? So what is happening basically? So as you already know, right, I have already talked in previous video, like in Python, everything whatever you define is object, right? So 2 is the object here, or it's a variable value, and a is the reference variable. Okay, so what does it mean basically? A is not holding 2, basically it is holding the reference of 2. Okay, so 2 is going to be stored in the heap area, and this is the object, and a is nothing but your reference. Okay, so basically you can say a bucket or maybe a placeholder. Okay, so this placeholder is going to have the address of 2. Where exactly it is stored in the heap, that address will be stored in a. Okay, so how to check those details? So basically what I'll do, we have something called id and is keyword. Okay, so id function, with the help of id you will be able to get the memory location of a. So let's take a look. Say equal to 2, then print, let's say, id of a. Okay, so this is the location of that heap area where this particular object is kept or stored. Okay, and that's what a is holding, this memory location. Okay, so this is basically a big integer value. So what I can do, it makes sense to have the hex value. That's what like all the memory location will be using hex notation, right? So this is memory location for this particular reference variable. Okay, so that's where you will be using id function. Okay, so let's take a couple of more examples. So I'll be using b equal to 2 and print id x id of b. Okay, so now if you notice here, a is also holding the same location, and b is also holding same location. Okay, so what is happening here? Basically, if you know Python or maybe C, C++ or any other language, right? So there, whatever variable you are going to define, right? For every variable, there will be dedicated memory space. Okay, but in Python, it doesn't work like that. It is managing very smartly. So if you see, or if Python interpreter sees some object is already defined somewhere in the location, right? So it is not going to create another memory location in Python for the next object. It is going to point the same, or it is going to refer the same object location what is already defined. So in this case, a is already holding 2 and b you are going to hold 2, right? So instead of creating another memory location for b, rather b will hold the same reference memory reference for these two. Okay, So that's what you see here. B is also holding same memory location as A. Now, the moment you change the variable value of A, let's say 10, right? So what will happen to B? Memory location of B. You see here, print hex ID of A. Similarly, I am going to print B. If you run this, then what happens? See here, A reference got changed, right? Or is it the same? This is DA. Okay, this is different. Don't go with the last two values. Take a look at the full hex value. Okay, and what is happening? B. B is holding the same value. Why? Because B value is not changed, right? Only A is changed. So A has gone to the different memory location, and that's why this memory location got changed. Okay. In case you change the B value also to 10, then for B also it is not going to change the memory location. It is going to hold this particular memory location for B as well. Okay, so that's where you use ID. And let's say in case you are defining A equal to 2, B equal to 2, and you would like to check whether B is holding the same memory location as A, then we have something called is keyword. Okay, B is A. So if it is holding the same memory location as A, then it is going to return Boolean true. Okay, in case you are holding B as 20, it is going to return false. Why? Because both are having two different objects, right? 2 has gone to different memory location in heap, and 20 has gone to different memory location in heap area. Okay, and that's why you see memory location is different. So in case you want to check, then you can just have a look at print ID of A, ID of B. Okay, you see both the locations are different. That's where you use is. So let's use it here. Okay, so now let's see what is reference counting. So basically, what is reference counting? You see here, right? Okay, let me use another example. A equal to 2, B equal to, let's say, 3, C equal to A, and D equal to A. Okay, so in this particular topic, right, reference counting means whatever object you have already defined, right, is it being referred somewhere else also, or is it being used somewhere else in different variable? Okay, so this will keep hold of all the track of the variable or object whichever is defined. Okay, so in case in this example I am holding A equal to 2, B equal to 3, C equal to A. So now C is referring A, which is already defined, right? D is also holding value as value of A. Okay, so in this case A has been referred 3 times. So that is the first reference, A equal to the definition, and another 2 times you are assigning to variable C and variable D. Okay, so let's say large chunk of data you have defined, right? So it's very hard or very tough to get the hold or get the count of those numbers, right? So Python is providing some functions by which you can get the reference counting. Okay, so we have something called, where is that? We have a module called sys, that is system module, import sys. In this module, we have one function called get reference count. Okay, so sys dot ref get ref count. Okay, you see here. So this function needs one object, right? So which object we would like to see, whether how many time it has been referred. Okay, so let's say I would like to see object. Okay, so this is going to print total how many time it has been referred. Okay, so guys, here you may wonder, I have referred A 3 times, but it is giving very big number, right? So remember, in Python, all the small objects, right, like a small integer from -5 to 255 or maybe 256, it is already stored, which is referred in so many different modules, internal modules or internal library. Okay, that's why you see this kind of count. So to understand it better, what I will do, I'll just take another example, and I'm just going to take some number which is greater than 255. Let's say we have 300. Okay, and B is 400. Now we see the magic. Okay, so now again here you see A we have referred 3 times, but why it is giving 4? Because in this particular function call, we are again giving reference of a, right? So including these three, another +1 will be there. Okay, because it is acting as a reference basically, right? Because you are getting the count, right? That's why you're getting +1. So in case you are going to use exact number, right, better you subtract -1. Okay, so that's how reference count works. So let's talk about print A, then print B. Okay, so B reference count is how many? So B we have already defined. Yeah, it's 2 times, right? So one is this and one is you are calling that B in the function. Okay, so that's how you use the get reference count. So you can make use of it and see if it is really exceeding based on the threshold which you would like to set. Okay, and based on that certain condition, you can run your part of code. Okay, so next thing is reference cycle. What is this reference cycle? So reference cycle is basically used for those object which is mutable. Okay, so in our case or in Python case, we have a list and dictionary and classes. Those are mutable objects, right? So those kind of object only can hold reference cycle. So what exactly it means? So let me take one example here. So I'm going to take, let's say I'm going to define one dictionary. Okay, so D1 equal to empty, D2 equal to D1, right? D2. Now I'm going to have in dictionary, let's say I'm defining one keyword. I'm going to hold D2 equal to D2, and in D2 I'm going to hold D1. Okay, so in this case what happened, D1 is referring to D2 and D2 is referring to D1. Okay, so how, see, each one is referring to each other, right? So if you delete the reference of, or maybe D1 object, but D2 is still holding D1, so reference count is not going to set as 0 even though you have deleted from the memory. Okay, that's what is reference cycle means. Okay, it is always going to have at least one reference even though you have deleted those value. So let's take a look how it works. So I'm just going to use get system dot get ref count of D1 D2. Okay, so why 3 times? Because 2 times anyway it is there, one D1 and one D1 is, and one more is you are calling. Okay, so and similarly to D2. Now let's say what happens if you are going to delete, let's say delete D1 and delete D2. Sorry. Okay, which object it is taking? Sorry. Get reference count. Oh, we have deleted, but we are referring, right? So what I'll do, I'll just use set D1 as none. Okay, so and D2 also none. So what is happening here? So D1, D2, okay, don't worry about this big number. Okay, why this big number? Because there is no reference, right? It is going to show the garbage value. Okay, so let me just put some more example. Let me just think out. So what I will do, I'm just going to take, I think I'm going to talk about this, right? Yeah, let's talk this example under this particular topic. Okay, so as I mentioned, get reference count is always going to return exact count plus 1, right? Because it is going to be referred in the same function. So to overcome from that issue, we have something called C types reference count. Okay, so for that we have something called import C types library, and under this let's have let's write one function to get the reference count. So get reference count of, let's say, address. Okay, so I'm going to address and I'm going to return, I'll use C types as some alias as CT. Return So CT has something called C underscore long, and this has something called from address. Okay, and you are going to pass the address. Okay, and it is going to return the exact count of that particular object. Okay, so let's define this. Now get the count. So if I define a equal to, I'll take the same example. Okay, and I'm going to take a1 is nothing but address of d1. So that is nothing but id of d1 and a2 id of d2. Okay, so through get reference count, I have already shown you it is going to return 3. Now let's use this. Instead of sys, what I'll do, I'll use the same function, ref count, right? So ref count, what is the address? I want address of d1, that is a1, right? And get this also. Okay, so it is going to return c long 2, means exactly 2 times it has been referred. So if you don't want to see long, you don't want to see c underscore long, what you can do, you can just add attribute as value. Okay, it is going to return the exact value. It will show exactly 1. Okay, let me restart the kernel. Since count a1. Oh, it is already referred to them, right? Okay. Now I am going to delete this particular values. So delete, let's say d1 and d2. Okay, and get the reference count. Okay, so now you see here what is happening. So even though I have deleted those variable, it is still referring the count as 1, right? And that's where the problem comes. So let's say you have defined so many objects like this using reference cycle, and you have deleted, but still it is occupying some memory, right? Because it is still holding some reference. So what happens here? You are never going to free up the memory, okay, for different variable. So in this case, garbage collection comes into picture. Okay, so this garbage, what, let's say what is garbage collection. So garbage collection is a process in which the interpreter frees up the memory when not in use to make it available for other objects. Okay, so garbage collection helps to free up the memory for these kind of reference cycle. Okay, so for simple object which is like immutable type, it is definitely going to free up the data and it will show 0. Okay, so let's see that example also. So I'm just going to hold, let's say d1 equal to 2300, d2 equal to 4000, and let's remove this a1 id d1 d2. Yeah, it is going to show 2 times, right? So now what I'm going to do, because one is this, one is this, now I'm going to delete a1 and a2, sorry, d1 and d2. See what is happening? It is going to show only 1. Okay, because it is not the reference cycle, right? Correct. It is going to it is immutable data type, right? That's why. So garbage collection to be used only in case of those kind of mutable object. Okay, then only it will be showing 0. So how to get the 0 count? Because I have deleted, right? So I want to make sure memory is also getting freed up, and I don't want to see any references even though it is deleted. That's where we will see garbage collection, how it works. Okay, so we have something called import. Let's import it. GC. Oh, what is the module name? Let me just check. Not able to remember it. GC is the one which is garbage collection. Okay. Okay, so now this is having a couple of very basic function. All you need to do is just call the collect. Okay, so what exactly it will do, I'll just show you. Let's run this example first. Okay, so before deleting, after deleting, basically, I'm going to call garbage collection module. So what it is going to do, it is going to collect what and all object which has been deleted and it is no more referred, right? So it is going to return those number of objects. So let's print GC. Okay, so now you see this number, right? So what exactly it means? It has collected and it is showing some garbage value. Okay, and after that it is showing reference count 1. But this needs to be used only where reference cycle has been used. So what I'll do, I'll just take this example where we have created a reference cycle. Then it makes sense to understand. So let me run this, delete D1, D2. I just use this function. Sorry, I copy pasted same code again. Yeah, see what happened. I'm deleting the memory from memory D1 and D2. And before GC collection, what was happening? It was still showing one reference cycle, right? But the moment I call garbage collection, what it does, it will take a look in the heap memory and see there's no object being referred. It will do all the collection and return the 0 reference count. Okay, that's what it does. So I hope it is clear to you guys. It is just showing all the different references what have been made earlier, or maybe some other maybe modules. That's why you see big count, but let's not worry about this. Our main aim is whether after collection it has shown 0 references or not. Okay, that is the main goal of this function. Okay guys, so that's about garbage collection. So let's see a couple of other attributes which might be helpful in case you are going to write some memory critical program and you would like to see what kind of threshold has been set, whether we can increase the threshold or not, and at exactly what point you should collect the garbage. Okay, so you don't have to do any manual garbage collection. Python interpreter takes care of that automatically based on the functionality or based on the program whatever you have written. Okay, but in case you want to do, you can still do that by manual call. Okay, so gc dot, we have something called get underscore threshold, right? So okay, so by default threshold, I think I had modified earlier, so that's why you see this number. Otherwise, it is going to show, I think 700, 10, and 10. Okay, so that is what is get threshold. And set threshold, let's say you want to change, right? So these numbers are nothing but there is some concept here, level 1, level 2, level 3. So during garbage collection, if some maybe some variable or object has missed that part, right? So it is going to pass to the second garbage collection uh, parameter. If that is also getting missed, then it will go to third one. Okay, so that kind of threshold is set. So first is always 700. I had modified. So let's modify this third. First one is I'll modify 900, then maybe 20 and 20. Sorry, this is not get, this is set. Okay, now if I get threshold, then it is going to show the exact number. This is the threshold. Okay, similarly, what is the count? So if you would like to get count of any reference at given point of time, you can do gc dot. So I think there was some connection, so let me share the screen again. Yeah, I hope I am audible. Yeah, so using gc.count, you can get the exact count of how many memory has been, how many references has been there at the given point of time. Okay, so GC, no attribute, why? Import GC. Or it is get count. Yeah. So at this particular given point of time, total these many references are there. So if you keep running, right, you see here counts are increasing. Okay, so maybe this might be required some point of time. You can also do that. So gc.collect I have already shown you guys. So at any point of time you would like to collect garbage, you can do this. Okay. So see, earlier it was showing very big number, right? And now after collection only 21 number, correct? So next one is automated versus manual garbage collection. So guys, I told you, you don't have to really collect garbage because Python takes care, Python interpreter takes care automatically whenever it is required. Okay. So, but as I mentioned, whenever you are writing any memory critical program, you may have to use this. So based on the need, you can do the garbage collection and make your program more, reliable. Okay, so disabling garbage collection. So I would suggest not to do that, but in case you want to do, just set the threshold as 0, 0, 0. Okay, so if you set the threshold as 0, 0, then your garbage collection will be disabled always. By default, it is enabled, right? So as I mentioned, default number is 710 and 10. But if you set 0, 0, garbage will never be collected. So be careful while using it. I'm not running, but you can run it. Okay guys, so that's all about memory management in Python. I hope you like this video, and those who have not understood any concept, I think you should go back to previous video, then come back. It will be easy to understand. Okay, so that's all from my side. It may be as an interview also, a couple of things like what is reference counting, what is reference cycle, how to use ID function, how to use this keyword, where exactly it is used, what is tag area, what is heap area, and how the garbage collection is, called, how it is made internally. So watch the video, get all the answers, and learn the concept. Okay guys, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Please do subscribe my channel if you haven't done. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.